most wonderful time of is live.
Not really live. Right now I'm seeing that weird old-timey Learn TV thing.
Trevor, Adam, I don't know if you know Trevor Lind, but I let him know, and he seems to be aware if you're connected.
Beep, boop, bop, boo.
Oh,
hang on. It is live. It's live on Twitter.
I think we're back.
I don't think we're back. I think we're back in one place. I see us on Twitter from the past.
I see us on Learn TV. I think we're live.
Yeah, but we're weird shaped on Learn TV. We're the wrong size.
We're back. We're live. Okay, I think my intro was just too festive, Scott. I think we broke the internet with so I'm going to start again. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Let's see. We're the wrong size, but we're
the wrong size, and I'm on the left, and you're on the right, and it's chaos at this point.
Well, let's see. I believe we're live here.
Now we are stretchy.
Shall we try again in a moment with the right aspect?
No, that's fine.
We're staying stretchy.
I think we are currently live, though.
Well, we're live, but we're live backstage. Here, let's try this.
We're live on Learn TV right now. I'm watching us.
Let's try this. Hey, friends, we're backstage with Chloe, and it's Learn TV. You're getting to see how the sausage gets made, my friends. It's technical difficulties with our back-end service provider, but our friends are hooking us up, and we're going to get us organized and be ready to go, and you get to see how it all happens.
So please send us your questions. We're super excited to get right into it. So, Scott, while we're waiting in the meantime here, yes, thank you for sticking with us during our epic technical difficulties. This is like a theme for the year, right, Scott? Like, I feel like 2020 has been full. I'm actually in the process of gathering all my bloopers from 2020 because I know you and I both do a lot of on-camera stuff. What has been your favorite either mishap that has happened to you or mishap that you've seen? I've seen a lot of cat meow cameos. I saw someone's picture fall down during a talk they were giving once. What's your fave of the year of 2020?
Favorite? Well, I mean, there's all the classic kids walking in randomly, animals walking in randomly. I had the first blue screen of death in a long time. I haven't this machine and machines in general. Windows 10 has been rock solid for me, but I had a blue screen of death because I just got a brand new video card. I put it in and I had a blue screen of death like 2 days later. So in the middle of a talk, I had to go and like it blue screen, and then I moved to another machine, like literally sitting next to me, and then jumped back on. So I was kind of like, hey, pat myself on the back for pulling that off. Ooh, I had my internet go down in the middle of a live presentation, but I have dual internet. So it was kind of
Love it.
little ninja move there where I got to switch to backup internet, and then everyone shamed me for having backup internet, but I thought it was a pretty awesome thing to have.
Isn't it wild to think that video, that like viral video that happened, what was it, a year ago, of the kid walking in, that would be the norm?
That's how I enter all rooms at this point, though.
Just with a highlighter walking in. Love it. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for bearing with us as we got started here, but we are here with an AMA and Ask Me Anything with Scott Hanselman. I am Chloe Condon, Senior Cloud Advocate here at Microsoft, and you may know Scott from, oh gosh, let's see, YouTube just hit, what was it, 100,000?
Oh yeah, so that was very exciting. Yeah, I hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube with the very kind help of our friend from Google, Kelsey Hightower, who helped me get over the top. I'd been sitting at 99,800, and he sent out a very lovely, kind tweet saying that he appreciated what I was doing. I'm making a course over there, kind of a course, I don't know. It's a playlist called Computer Stuff They Didn't Teach You. Because I feel like, I don't know about you, but the stuff I learned, whether in school or in boot camp or in whatever, isn't what I'm doing today, right? So I'm going over Git and rebasing, and I just did one actually on home networking, where I started the video with no internet. Like, who teaches you? Who teaches you how to set up a router, right? Like, they come to your house, they put the router, and they go, here's the button to turn it off, right?
It's kind of like changing a tire almost. Like, it's something that is like something you should know.
That's a really great point. That's actually a good point. And I had a lovely conversation with a person yesterday who was doing a series on woodworking. And it was like how to be handy if you didn't have like a parental figure who is also handy, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know how I learned that stuff, but I certainly don't want anyone in tech to feel like there's any gatekeeping where, you're not a programmer because you don't know how to reboot your router. Yeah. But not everyone's interested in that stuff. So it was really fun. We talked about DNS and DHCP, talked about the difference between Wi-Fi and Ethernet, talked about the different ports here. And, a lot of people watched it and they said, yeah, I knew that already. And that's cool. This video is not for you. But it's just nice to know a little bit about internet and intranet and what those words mean. And then did you know that the password for your router usually is on a sticker?
I actually do know that because I constantly have to help my dad with his Wi-Fi. So
see,
that makes sense. I just love, there's a lot of like stigma, I think, about creating beginner content. And I think some of the best advice I ever got was from Tom Will Fix It on Twitter when I was very early in my career, asking all the Docker captains, like, how do I be a good developer advocate? And he said, always make beginner content. The UI is always changing. Everyone is always a beginner. So you're going to probably touch the most people making beginner content. And I have to thank you, Scott, because I know so many non-traditional folks and bootcamp grads who often will find themselves in these situations where, where do I learn how an HTTP request gets sent? Or how do I set up my router? So thank you for making content that is very needed.
Yeah, I think that it's fun to do 300 level content. I've taught in university. I've done, 400 level stuff, and that's great. And that's for an audience. But I think we have a really special time right now with the rise of social media, with the better bandwidth. We're all trapped at home. Why not make a nice on-ramp for people to get into tech? My team actually works on .NET, and we just made a little bit ago, I can actually show you, .NET/videos. Let me bring up my background.
How long have you been doing this series? Like, how long did it take you to amass this following on YouTube?
Oh, well, that's a whole conversation we'll have. Let me show you this really quickly, though. You see my screen. Let's see, our friends backstage will pop my screen up so they can share my screen for me. There we go. So this is a whole series I did with my friends. We've got C# 101, ASP.NET Core 101, IoT, on and on. We did hundreds and hundreds of videos. And what's great about these is that they are very bite-sized.
Yeah.
So here, look at this. We've got almost 500,000 views on this great one with Leslie from our team. And these are like a couple minutes long, just walking you through the process of making web pages and doing all that kind of stuff. That's all up at the .NET website. So yeah, definitely beginner content is the bomb.
I spy my co-host plug for Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Brandon Minnick talking about Xamarin on there. That's exciting. I'm going to check that out. Maybe I feel like I'm already subscribed to you on YouTube. Maybe I'll be your 100 millionth follower here.
I was told there would be snacks. But yeah, that just happened. Are they going to send
you a crystal or something? What happens when you reach this milestone?
Apparently, if you go out there and you Google with Bing for 100K YouTube award, they're going to send me a plaque of some kind.
I think I saw drag queen Trixie Mattel post a plaque like that.
So I think I get something like that. So that's going to be fun.
Looks like you got some wall space back there for it, you know. It's the new version of a platinum record.
I haven't won anything, so it's going to be nice to get a little thing to put on the wall. But to your original question, how do you amass? I mean, like amass implies that there's anything that comes of it, but consistently showing up is the trick. Like I've been in tech now for this will be year 29, almost 30 years. I think you need to show up and be patient and be kind and be consistent on the regular. And I think people forget that because, you know, if you were early in career and I was like, Chloe, the trick is you have to blog 8 times a week, do 2 YouTubes and a podcast and have a regular job, right? Then you'd be like, not cool, right? But blogging, YouTube, none of that is my job. It is not my job to be on YouTube. I don't do it during company time. My podcast that I've had for many years, also a side hustle. These are just things because I'm so excited about, I'm like a professional enthusiast. Like my job is to manage community for Visual Studio. But if you can come up with a way to make a sustainable showing up and do that for 20, 30 years, you too will be a mid-level B celebrity in the internet.
Well, I want to say, first of all, thank you for all the content you do, Scott. And also thank you for bringing other people to the table. It's always so exciting to watch your videos, see all sorts of different ages, size, shapes, colors, experience levels. So thank you for the work that you do. We have lots of fans here in the chat who are excited to ask you all kinds of questions. We've got a lot here. Let's see. Well, I'm finding a good one here. What are you most looking forward to? I have a question for you. This is the Chloe question. What holiday tradition, we're all home, so things are a little bit different. We're not really traveling, but is there any holiday traditions, we're here for the Festive Tech Calendar, that you're looking forward to partaking in this year? I've got my little menorah right here. I also have, I forgot to put this up. My mom made me this lovely Christmas stocking. I'm Jewish, so I'm half Jewish on my dad's side. How about you, Scott? Do you have any traditions or foods or things?
I love it. You're Jewish.
My dad used to ask me when I was younger. I think he's tuning in if he figured out how to play Learn TV. Folks would ask me, what half Jewish are you? I'd say bottom half. But now I just say that I'm Jewish.
Chloe's version of Jewish is don't eat pork, but if you do, here's a wonderful recipe.
Exactly.
Actually, I'll show you something that is a tradition that I will grab right now as I leave my room here. And I grab this and I come back in.
Ooh, an entrance. Ooh, an advent calendar.
So this was made by my lovely sister-in-law, Mobile Kiwani, and she makes this advent calendar for the kids and the family. This looks like the envelope got stuck in number 10 here. I got to fix that now. I'm going to get in trouble ruining it on live TV.
I'm used to chocolate in my advent calendars. What are in these envelopes?
So she has like these conversation starters in each of these. And then like one of them was like, see if you can use flabbergasted casually in a sentence during the day. And if you do that, then you get a candy. And then there's a box with numbered bags. She basically gives us this giant box, and then for every single day there's a bag. So then if you win the challenge for the day, you get whatever's in the bag.
Oh my goodness. I love this.
So definitely a arts and crafts family.
So many creative elves on a shelf this year, and so many creative advent calendars. I've seen whiskey advent calendars. I've seen I love the gamification of yours, though. That's kind of like a challenge. It's almost like Christmas or holiday bingo.
So the only thing Christmas is missing is in-app purchases and loot boxes, and then we'll be just like...
Exactly. Well, I'm going to stop asking you all my questions. I could go on forever, ask you what your favorite play and musical is, but...
Danny is saying I have to open number 8. I'm a day behind. Darn it.
That's true. Oh, good eye, people at home. Okay, we've got some questions here. Let me scroll.
Sorry, Chloe, I just opened day number 8.
Okay, yes.
If you could outlaw one vegetable, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Okay. This is tough.
I could say it, but it's super controversial.
Okay, tell me.
I don't like avocados.
Really? Wow.
They're slimy and weird, and they creep me out.
Okay. See, here's the thing. I was going to say celery because I feel like whenever I have like a winter soup or something, I'm kind of like eating around the celery, but I love ants on a log, so I have to think more about vegetables. I don't like.
Celery is just a transport mechanism by which to get peanut butter into my face quicker.
It is.
So that's why celery exists.
Does celery even exist? Isn't it like 0 calories? You like lose calories while you eat celery?
It's basically water. It's just water.
Wow. You heard it here first, y'all. Scott Hanselman, not a fan of avocados. Wow, wow. California people.
Oh, do you ever go on Twitter and you look at like lists you're on and you see all the weirdo lists people have added you to? I found out yesterday I was added to a list called avocado haters.
Wow. Wow. You've peaked, Scott. That's
I thought that was a very aggressive maneuver.
I don't know. I've printed out a lot of things on laser tweets. I feel like if I was added to an epic list, I would add that. Let's see. Outlaw them. Yuck, Peter Gallagher says. Wow, I didn't realize.
Those are tiny pickles, right?
What?
Gherkin is a tiny pickle, right?
Yes, yeah. Gherkin. Gherkin.
Gherkins. I'm pro tiny pickle. That's what I'm looking here on the chat there.
All right, our question here. Let's see. We have one here that says we've seen. Oh, it went away, but I've got one here. We've seen some cool chores and stuff you've made for your house. Have you made any cool Christmas tech stuff this year? Good question.
I have not made any. Let me see. I have Christmas stuff. Oh, actually, I'm working on something. I haven't made it yet, but it's my Christmas vacation plan. Let me see if I can actually turn it on. That might be cool. So one of the things that I want to say is I want to give a shout out to our lovely friends at Adafruit, particularly Lamora Freed and Philip Tyrone. And let me see if I can grab a laptop briefly.
One memento. Like the Griswolds to come out, and we're going to do.
They are
epic.
There we go.
Christmas light festival here.
So one of my favorite things from Adafruit, you can check them out at adafruit.com. And I have
quick, we just had someone say, FYI, an avocado is a fruit.
I'm still banning it. I don't care. Brian Lagrunas, I'm banning it. I reject that.
Not canon in the Scott Hanselman universe.
No, it's definitely not canon. That was part of the extended universe, and we removed that a while back. So Adafruit, I don't have any relationship with them, but they're just lovely. So this isn't like a paid anything. Like I don't do any of that kind of stuff. It's just when things are awesome, we talk about them, right? Oh, yeah. So they have this screen. It's part of the Ada box. Have you seen this?
No, this is so cool.
So this is actually a grid. Whoa. There's 2 of them pasted together, okay? And you can, and then you put a diffuser over the top of it, okay? So it's actually like these 64 by 64 pixels, and there's 2 of them. So 128 by 64. Yeah, and this is part of the Ada box. An Ada box is a subscription, and
every month writing this down. I'm literally like...
I want you to when you write that down, you need to like get the pen and do it like on like the Miss Maisel, where you go like this and you get here's my notebook, my Super Mario. And then you have to go like, what is the thing that they do where they touch the pen to their tongue and they go,
Didn't age well, but
yeah. And then you have to make the villager sound like my son always goes. So check this out.
Whoa!
So this is the moon, full moon, like 42% full, I guess, and then the waning of the waxing moon, the time and the date, and it is it's got a gyroscope. So if I rebooted it and brought it up this way, okay, I'll turn it off and turn it on again. This runs Circuit Python. And Circuit Python is a joy. So if you're really interested in like doing real computers, and by real I mean like making a kid or a young person or an early career person in your life feel like I'm doing real work.
Wow.
It's real code. It's really Python. It's not fake Python. It's micro Python. It's Circuit Python. And what's a joy about this is you plug it in over a USB, and it shows up as a disk drive.
Wow.
And there's a code.py file in the disk drive. And what's nice about this is there isn't like a do a build, do a compile, do a deploy. You just plug in this thing, and any CircuitPython device shows up with this disk drive, this fake disk drive. And then when you hit save, it reboots. So the developer's inner loop is make some code, save, reboot, see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a blood sugar chart because I'm diabetic, and I'm going to have this lovely bright. You see how bright that is? You see how the white balance of my camera changes.
Use it for a ring light.
Yeah, I do. I have my makeup ring light up here. But there you go. So see how it's oriented this way now? So it booted up and it checked the gyro and then adjusted appropriately.
Oh, cool. I love, like, as a very visual person too, and just as someone from the creative arts, I love anything that combines tech and art. So seeing just like the display on that is so incredible. And what fun projects people are going to make with this. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's just one. That's just one project. Another one that I have,
and actually. That's from the Adafruit box, you said?
Okay, so this is an Adafruit, and it is called a Matrix Portal.
Matrix Portal.
M4. And this came as a part of the subscription. So the subscription that I was going to tell you about, which is just, again, a wonderful thing for any time, holiday or otherwise. Let me go over here. I'm going to go into my...
You're crossing a to-do off my list, Scott, because my boyfriend's mom asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I'm taking notes.
Yo, definitely. So Adafruit sends me boxes of stuff, and it's a subscription, right? So you get like spy stuff or one time. Oh, I got googly eyes. Hang on.
Yes.
Let me get the googly eyes.
I don't know about y'all,
googly
but
eyes.
I actually have a whole set of googly eyes that I just have on hand for any special occasion. I add them to my espresso maker, add them to my egg cooker. Ooh, I'll bring up that image to give people a laugh in a second. I'll share my story. But I think adding googly eyes to even a Roomba can make your
I can't find them.
life more exciting.
My kids took them. My kids took them. Anyway, they send you this cool box. And every time you get it, it's a new fun thing. Another time, they sent me a Pi Portal, a tiny little screen, little 320 by 240 screen, and you could have like a build. You could make like a build manager, so it turns red if you break the build. It could be countdown for your favorite TV show. There's like so many fun little electronics that you can make and build with stuff from Adafruit. I also built this Kubernetes cluster of Raspberry Pis.
Ooh.
So I have like a piece of the cloud in my house. So anyway, much love to them.
Any Adafruit Python stuff, definitely check out our coworker Nina's stuff. She's putting a lot of cool Adafruit Circuit Python stuff on Twitter. And oh my gosh, I love anything that boops and beeps and lights up. And I am so excited to see more devices with screens, because you know what that means? More Clippies put onto devices with screens.
It would not be hard to go and Clippify one of these screens and stuff like that.
I think that's
you could check out our mutual friend Nina, who talks about Python a lot, and take a look at Adafruit. And Adafruit has a lovely YouTube channel with live coding and unboxing and stuff, very, very much like live TV. We should have them on this thing.
We should. And such a great way for folks who maybe think they have someone in their life who's like, programming is not for me. It's just sitting behind a computer all day. It so isn't. There's so many cool, awesome things that people can get their hands dirty with. And thanks for sharing that. I literally wrote it down. I'm like,
The out-of-the-box subscription is great. And you can go back and buy previous versions of the boxes. The one I was trying to show you was Googly Eyes. They're basically 2 screens inside of big convex lenses. And then we put a hood over it, and you can make like scary blinking eyes. And that was a Halloween costume last year.
You know, it's so funny. Back in the before times when we traveled a lot more, I have this Make Code, MS Make Code lanyard that I wear. That's a little bear, and it scrolls my name across the screen. It's made for kids technically, but I get so many compliments from grown adults on it, and it's one of my favorite pieces of hardware I've ever played with. But seriously, same thing. Just kind of upload the code and go. It's so fun. Amazing.
Looking at some of the questions on Twitter as well. Someone said they're looking. Someone on Twitter said they feel like they're listening to a transmission from another planet. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. I think it's a compliment.
My headphones, maybe your background, who knows? Maybe it's my hair. It's probably my hair. It's kind of
my audio sounds okay because you sound great.
You sound great.
Cool. All right. Let's bang out some questions. I apologize. We're off vibing about other stuff.
Oh, we got some here. Let's see. What do you think is the best feature of .NET 5? Currently sat upgrading a bunch of projects from 2.2 to .NET 5.
From a web perspective, the perf is bananas. Like you'll get a 30 to 40% perf improvement just by upgrading. So moving from 3.1 to 5, my blog just got faster. From a client side perspective, the ability to make single file exes. So for example, one of the things people don't realize is that Windows Forms is one of the most popular file new projects that we have. Like if you're a student or an early in career person, you sit down in Visual Studio, you go file new project, you make a form, you start dragging buttons onto it. Most popular thing. But if I was going to say, hey, Chloe, learn how to do Windows Forms, but first you have to install .NET on their machine and you have to set this up, you have to send a reboot. Those days are over. You can just go and publish to a single file. That single executable can be like 100 megs, and you put on a USB key, and you can hand it to a friend, and they can run it on whatever, and they don't have to install .NET. It just works. So I think that single file executables that just kind of unfold into memory is one of the best features of .NET 5.
Yeah, love it. And makes your life a lot more easier.
Indeed.
All right, we got another one here that says, if you could choose any job outside of the tech industry, what would it be?
There's 3 answers to that question. My brother and my father are both firefighters, which is big here in the US because everything's made of wood. I was not able to be a firefighter because I'm diabetic, but if I could, I think I'd be a firefighter. That said, I'd be the kind of firefighter that did more health stuff. My wife is a nurse. My father was an EMT, an emergency medical technician. So something like doctor, helping people in that way. But also I was a professor at a state university and at a community college for a while. So I think when I retire, I will probably go and teach again and be a professor.
I love it. State school, graduate myself, degree in drama, as my boyfriend loves to call it.
I lettered in drama. I have my Letterman's jacket from Sunset High School. You get like a Letterman's jacket. And what's cool about it is that you wear it and everyone thinks you're a jock. And then they see like the happy face, sad face drama thing on the side. And they're like, oh, all right.
I got another tip. Go to a performing arts high school and tell everybody that your sports team's undefeated. That was my tip. Ooh, we've got a very controversial question here. The mother of all questions: Star Trek or Star Wars?
Why not both? I used to record Star Trek with a VHS video cassette, and it would come on and you'd hit record. This is maybe a generational thing, Chloe, but one of the great things about
I did it with Rugrats, don't worry.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. You hit record, and then there's a moment where you feel the tension in the scene, and you know they're about to fade to commercial. So you hit pause, and then there's a moment where it's like, is this the last commercial, or is there one more commercial? And then you hit unpause, and then you make the essential perfect recording of Star Trek. So I did that. I don't think that Star Trek or Star Wars is something that we need to fight about. Absolutely not. Both.
I mean, I love Babu Freak. and that's
Hey!
on it. Yes. But I agree. Why not both? I'm actually starting to dip my toe into the Star Trek universe. So I see that there's all these different offshoot things with my favorite comedians in them, and I'm so excited.
Let me tell you, if you need the simple answer is watch them all. Yeah. But if you want a curated list of here are 7 episodes of The Next Generation to watch and 3 episodes of Discovery, whatever. But seriously, season 3 of Star Trek Discovery is just so special. 1 and 2 were awkward. It was finding its feet. But the trekkiest Trek is season 3 of Discovery. It is just a joy. So definitely check that out.
Noted for my binge watching. Ooh, related question. Has Scott played Jedi Fallen Order on Xbox yet?
I have, in fact, and I have a tiny...
I have not heard of this game yet. Is this new?
An Xbox One S right here.
Ooh. Nice.
And that is where my copy of Jedi Fallen Order lives. And that is also a lovely... That's actually a video game with a ginger as the protagonist.
Did you see all the Xbox bling on the website? I will send it to you later, Scott. It blew my mind. There is necklaces. There's big brass knuckles. It's quite a time to be alive in an Xbox fan. Ooh, what video game do you have hooked up on your arcade machine, or is it a RetroPie?
So if you Google for Hanselman Arcade Cabinet, I have a 7-part series about how to make these. This actually, what I'll do is I will share my screen again, or someone will share it for me.
Just thinking, someone tweeted something like, if you had X amount of dollars, what would be the first thing you buy? I was thinking, like, when I was a kid, what was like the peak of coolness and luxury and grown-upness, and I just pictured Tom Hanks in his penthouse apartment in Big with his like pinball machines. So I think I need to do this project to get one of these in my apartment.
It's important for people to realize that this room looks like $1 million. This is about a $300 room. So, like, and this is important because everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's got the man cave." Blah, blah, blah. These are Billy shelves from IKEA. Okay, there's nothing interesting here. That is a $50 refurbed light effects.
Love it.
This is a yoga ball. This here is this. Look at this. Look right here. This is I got it at a bar. Go ahead and make that big screen for me. It's a video trivia machine. Okay. You know, I got it for like $100 or whatever. And I shoved a PC in the back of the thing. Okay. Then I painted it. Here's your before and after.
Love it.
That is the same machine. And then these are just vinyl overlay things, you know, decals, that's the word. Those were $35. And then this top part was the hardest bit. The control panel is actually, if you've ever seen one of these, this is called an X Arcade tank stick. I got it at Goodwill. Huh. And then I took this piece of steel here with a trivia. See how that was only 5 buttons because it was a trivia game, right? It didn't have the right number of buttons. So I had to cut it and cut it in the shape of the arcade, right? And then you shove the pieces in like this.
Wow.
So it's just, and all it is a keyboard, right? It's just a keyboard, not fancy. So then I took it out of the box it came in and then taped it to the back, right? And then you can play any game you want, right? So I've got, all legal games only, of course, but I can talk about a whole thing. Here you go. Total cost $400.
That is so. I love this.
Yeah, there's no reason to spend a lot of money for some fun. But actually, here's a suggestion. You may have a smaller place than I do, Chloe. What about this? Just zoom in on this guy.
I love that.
So, where did I get it, you ask? From our friends at Adafruit. Yes. Again, I have no relationship with them other than I'm a fan. But this is acrylic laser cut. It's a little, it looks like I need to maybe clean it a little bit. And there's a Raspberry Pi in it. See?
That is so cool. I love that this is like crafting and DIY and tech. Like it's all my 3 favorite things. Like actually, all in one thing.
Check this out. 3D printed Game Boy.
Yes.
With a Raspberry Pi inside. This is actually called the Pi Girl.
I am obsessed, and I need
And it's
one yesterday.
GRRL. So go and search for Pi Girl, GRRL. And it's 3D printed. And then I got an old Super Nintendo controller, took it apart, put it inside, and that's a Raspberry Pi. And that one's really great as well. So yeah, lots of fun crafting that you can do with hardware.
So cool. I'm obsessed. I'm like making notes on all these things. I'm going to make all of them and then tweet them at you, Scott.
I see a great question there at the top by James Sherburne. Maybe you could ask that question.
Oh, yes. Let's see. James says, I'm currently hosting a small business website as an app service, Linux. Would I benefit in any way, cost or performance, by hosting my application as a container? That's a great question.
Very good question. Short answer, cost and performance, no. You shouldn't see any difference. Whether you're doing an app service on Linux or an app service on containers on Linux, it's pretty much the same. I am running on an app service on Linux. The benefits of containers for me are that I'm able to go and build and deploy. So if you switch over to my screen here, let me exit out of here and go over to my blog. So in the upper corner here, I'm going to go and switch over to Hansel Minutes. So here I've got a Docker build, Docker run, Docker test, where I can go and run, build, and test from Docker. That allows me on a Windows machine to go and deploy and test Linux things. But it doesn't really matter if it's in a container in the cloud or not, because app service handles that for me. So will you see any major improvements in perf? No, containers aren't about perf. They're about reliable deployments. So I wouldn't think about it for that. From a cost perspective, it would still be running on an app service. So if we switch over here and look at an app service, for example, here is my blog running on Linux. You can see that it's in a Linux resource group on this app service plan. If I go and click on that app service plan and then click on apps, you can see here that I've got my blog, my podcast, and my homepage all running on the one app service plan. And then I can scroll down here and I can see my memory percentage is at about 50%. My CPU is barely touching anything at about 10. I could arguably lower this from a premium V2, which I think is $100, to something else if I wanted to. But right now I'm using half of 3.5 gigs of memory. So if I went down to 1.75, I would probably save about $20. Actually, no, it's about $73. I could save $20, but I'd be bumping right up against the edge of memory. And since I'm running 3 apps in one app service, I would not want to do that. Containers would not change any of that.
And you just moved
and then
your
I go Docker
entire blog over to Azure?
Yes, I moved my blog to Azure actually for the first time. I had been running on a physical computer in Canada, and someone kicked it apparently or bumped into it, and it was like, you need to get off our Canadian computer that's under someone's desk. So I finally moved it to Azure. I actually moved from .NET Framework to .NET Core, from Windows to Linux, and then ultimately put everything into a container here, but I still run in an Azure app service. So I'm 100% in the cloud right now, which is really cool because then I can go here and look at this dashboard, which is just scrumptious. I love dashboards. The power of the cloud is dashboards. That's what people don't realize. Look at that.
I learned that you can add GIFs to your dashboard the other day. I added
if I can have, this is a spot right here that's just ripe for a GIF potentially.
Yeah.
But like just having this ability to like go and see like my blog's availability, any exceptions, or here's a couple of failed requests. Have you seen this? This is cool. So here's some failed requests. Let's click on it. And then we'll dig into like, here's a couple of, oh, look at this. So I've got 48 fails. Someone is scraping for robots.txt in the wrong folder. That's interesting. Here's a more interesting one. So here's someone's hitting the archive page. And I'm getting a 500. They're getting an archive argument out of range exception. What's going on here? So somebody is poking around and they're passing in something that's not a valid year. Could be a hack, could be something else. Wouldn't be able to get that kind of insight without the cloud.
And this is great because how do you know what you're looking for? Like you can set alerts for all these different things. You can have an error reporting tool, but in this case, how do you know what to look for if you don't know what's going on? So
exactly.
in there is great. I love it.
Exactly. See, look at this. I can do stuff like this. So how do you know what you're looking for? There's a new thing called smart detection. Look at that.
Ooh.
So I'm seeing slow browser loads for folks in India. So they're seeing my blog loading 8 seconds instead of 4. So I need to go and figure out why that is, right? That's an insight I could not get from the logs, which I think is really significant.
Yeah, I love that, because otherwise you just kind of be blindly going about your day, not even knowing that that particular issue is affecting that region.
Exactly. Well said. Nice. This is some JavaScript method. So I've actually got an interesting thing. Check this out. If we go to the application services for the blog, let's go to blog, and then we'll go to app services. Beep, boop, bop, boop. Oh, that should be application insights, rather. Pardon me. And then look at the app map.
App map. Oh, that's cool. Wait, I've never seen this before. This is awesome.
You've never seen the app map? Oh, my goodness. So here, let me show you the app map for the podcast. It's more interesting. So the app map is amazing. Once you've instrumented your stuff, you go over here where it says investigate. 2 things people don't click enough on are application map and smart detection.
Oh my gosh.
You click on app map and it'll actually show you, see, these are the different external services I call. Like this is my podcast hosting site that hosts my RSS feed. You can see I've got my CDN blob. And here's Google Analytics. So you're seeing all the dependencies.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can see, well, here's the slowest, I had a sub 5 millisecond request there I need to work on. And you can lay this out any way you want. Look at that. Just do that. That's what makes you a real engineer. Just to be able to do this. Isn't that amazing?
As a visual person, I'm like, where has this been my whole life?
No, so you should totally go and pick your highest traffic or your most favorite site and go and instrument it on the server side and the client side, and then it will generate this map for you automatically. And then what's cool about it is when you click on it, it'll tell you what the slowest request is or if there's been any challenges with that. So over here, you can see that this is a JavaScript call that takes a fifth of a millisecond, and here's fifth of a second rather. Here's one that takes a little bit longer. You can then click on those and see, well, which post or which get is taking a long time. Absolutely glorious thing. Yeah. The other thing you should check out is, let's go back to the dashboard. And where is it? Live metrics. Go hit my blog. See, look at this. Ready to connect to your app. So if folks go right now to hanselman.com/blog. Hanselman.com/blog. Beep boop bop boop. And see the request rate. So right now I've got 10 people a second hitting the blog. And if people are just naturally, because they were doing it before, there's a regular traffic on my blog. So then let's see. Here you go. Just hit 20. Let's see if people are actually watching this show. Oh, so we just had a failure. So that's interesting. So someone may have had a what's the word? An ad blocker or something. Or here you go. They tried to get a graphic and it failed. So there's a 404 graphic here. And you can then filter these things. So this is a couple seconds behind. Somebody just hit the blog and it hit 500 milliseconds. Oh, look. So there you go. That's probably as a result of me saying, please hit the blog. So you see how it went from 10 a second and now we're at 40?
I think we should just do a stream where people just tune in and hit your blog and we just watch the live results come in.
Yeah. Well, it's fun though, because you could take any of the projects you work on, instrument them, and you will get this kind of stuff. And now look, while we're doing this, someone sent in a year, month, day, which is an unrepresentable date time, right? So I could go and dig into that and figure out what's going on. So this could be a bug, right. Could be anything. And I can actually see the code failed in date to ticks. So someone went over here and they clicked on date and they put in some value that failed, and I need to go and dig into what that failure is. Here we see a 404. So it looks like there's an issue right here. Let's go and see if that is an issue.
This is great.
And so I have a 404, so I have a missing graphic I need to go figure out. Huh. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I love this.
It does the work for you. Like, hey, here's some
Well,
tickets for you.
if I were billable by the hour, I would say I do the work and the tool just makes me greater. But yes, it gives you the power, like as if you were a team of 10 or 100 people.
Yeah.
Oh,
we got
here's a question.
How do you manage your blog? Are you using some sort of blogging engine or CMS?
I have been using a thing called Das Blog, DAS blog, which is German for the blog. Das Blog was worked on by Clemens Vasters, myself, and Omar Shaheen about 20 years ago, and was recently taken up and moved to .NET Core by the very kind Mark Downey. And Mark Downey works now for Visual Studio. And he and I have worked together on Das Blog now for a number of years. And he is very kind to merge in my silliness, here's Shane Boyer's silliness. And together, he and I, we pair on this every once in a while. And he runs his blog at papastring.com. And here's Mark Downey. He is a musician as well. So his blog looks very different from my blog, right? All based on the same stuff. So here's us last week talking about upgrading my blog to .NET Core. And Mark came on and we walked through that process. And folks can check that out if they go to .NET. And then up here in the corner, we have our own live TV, just like Learn TV. And it shows up on Learn TV sometimes. You can go and see a new show every day. We have all kinds of lovely folks coming on talking about microservices and .NET docs and stuff. So Mark Downey came on and talked to us about that blog. So that is Das Blog. Ooh, and here's something that'll scare you. That's the database, Chloe.
Whoa.
It is 5,000 XML files.
Wow. All about that base.
I like it because there's no database. I don't have to worry about database corruption or anything. These are just one XML file for each day for 20 years.
Wow,
Works just fine. Yeah. And it's upgraded to .NET Core now, and it runs on Linux, and it works great.
That is awesome. You're giving me lots of ideas for hosting my own blog. I'm taking so many notes in this AMA.
There's a lot of choices. Now, of course, I could use a static site generator or Jekyll or one of those kind of things, and I could take that static site generator, take this XML and generate something. But my blog also has some features that static site generators don't really have, and it has live comments and things. So there's choices. Building a blog is a great way to learn how to code too.
Yeah. Great beginner project, and just so many different gotchas that are unexpected when you're building that project. So definitely.
Well, like this one that we're seeing right now in the dashboard, where I'm seeing values for years and dates I didn't expect. Like you wouldn't know until you throw it out into the world and start seeing, here's a random person in Malaysia who's posting, this weird thing to my blog. And then you get to go and dig into that fun outlier.
Yeah, it's like detective work in your own code. Love it.
And actually, as we get towards the end here, I want to just put a little advertisement in. You mentioned this briefly at the beginning. I encourage folks to check out my podcast. I've done over 760 episodes of the show. And if you notice that I'm just kind of scrolling here, it's just lovely faces from people all over the place. Some that you may have seen, some that you may not have. Been doing it for a very, very long time. Do you recognize this person, Chloe?
I do. Oh my goodness. Sarah Cooper.
Yeah, I had Sarah Cooper on before she was super famous. Now she won't return my calls, but that's fine. I'm not bitter.
Wow. I'm so excited to catch up on back episodes of this because, there's Tracy. I see so many friendly faces and new faces that I can't wait to add to my list of favorite humans.
Fresh talk from fresh faces. That is the goal of the show.
Amazing. Well, we're wrapping up here. We're at the end of our time. Scott, this has been lovely. Any parting words for the folks at home? We got lots of great questions today. Anything you want to shout out or share or pro tips, anything?
I would say, let's go back and share my screen one last time. I am very proud of this little show that I'm doing called Computer Stuff They Didn't Teach You. And I would suggest that you check it out. If you go to computerstufftheydidn'tteachyou.com, it will redirect you to this playlist. And I think the one that people seem to like the most is the Git 101 Basics. But you and I at the beginning were talking about how people feel about being new developers. So I did one called Overwhelmed with Programming. Here's some things that will help you be less overwhelmed. And that's just a
I mentor, then I am going to send that to immediately, Scott.
I would be very happy if you did. So let's click on that and not look at the ads and see what the, it looks like that one's doing pretty decent. Only 19 people think it sucks. So that's a good sign.
Well, I'm super excited to check these out. Thank you again for joining us, Scott. This has been so lovely. And y'all, if you are tuning in with us now, we actually have an event from episode of Launch Space focusing on Kubernetes on Azure with Brandon Burns up with the first keynote. And go ahead and check that out. And how should we close this out, Scott? Should we like do a festive? I'm like, should do a festive song? I don't know. I've got some jingle bells on this.
You know what I think we should do is I would encourage the folks that are watching this content that we are creating to think about what kind of fun content that they can make. I'm excited about my YouTube. You're excited about your live show here on the Festive Tech Calendar and the work that you do. What are some things that you who are watching can do? Have you worked on a project or made a fun thing with your family or your friends? Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's a little video. Maybe it's a TikTok. I would encourage you to think about making something this holiday season and then sharing it with us.
Please share it. And if you're looking for any good starter projects, Seasons of Serverless is happening. So if you want to learn how to make the longest Turkish kebab, oh my goodness, we have lovely ladoos, the perfect turkey brine. Go ahead and check that out at aka.ms/Seasons of Serverless. And thank you again so much, Scott, for joining us today. This has been a lovely chat. And my Christmas list got exponentially longer thanks to you. So thanks for that.
Oh, and then shout out to my friends at the Blairisms, BLAIRISM, Blairisms, for the Beyonce t-shirt. Appreciate that. They sent that as a lovely gift.
Some fashion moments happening here on Learn TV. Well, happy holidays, y'all. And from all of us here at Microsoft, we hope you had a wonderful festive tech calendar time with us. And thanks for joining. Bye.